Hi, this is ewjtri, where we make all the training and racing mistakes so you don't have to. If this is your first time tuning in, you are not going to want to miss this episode. And if you're back, welcome back. You're not going to want to miss this episode. So hit the red subscribe button if you haven't at the bottom of your screen so you don't miss any other episodes, and you'll get an alert about any future videos. Today is season 1 off-road triathlon from start to finish, episode 5. Today is all about the morning, something I call the morning transition for triathletes. Now, I'm not talking about T1 and T2 in the race. Maybe this should be called T0. I don't know. But really, it's the morning, so it's before all that stuff. And it really is what is focused on getting your day started off right. I know you're busy. You've got training to do. You've got work to do, errands to run, kids to take care of, dogs to feed, all these responsibilities, and you can't fit it in all in one day, or at least it seems like you can't fit it in every day, and there's just not enough hours. But what I'm telling you is that you can fit it in, or if nothing else, you can start the day off right. If you start the day off right, in the right mindset, the right physical aspect, you're more likely to continue that throughout the day, or at least if things come up, you're more likely to be prepared to take on those challenges or deal with those stressors or frustrations if you have the right morning or the right start to your day. Have you ever had that day where the alarm goes off and you hit snooze, or you're rushing to make it to work, and it just seems like one thing after another happens during that day, and it just kind of keeps getting worse or spirals downhill? Well, that's what tends to trend and happen, is if it kind of starts off negative and bad, it potentially can keep going that way. And if it starts off really great, it hopefully will continue to go well. So I've had lots of experience in terms of trying different things in the morning, and what works and what doesn't. And so this morning transition for triathletes that I'm going to talk about with you today has really started my days off right, helped me deal with things, and has really led to a lot of success, both in my training in races and triathlon, but also my life in general has spilled over to how I've dealt with family and friends, and just overall been a happier person. The 6 parts of the morning transition for triathletes are as follows. Number 1, hydrate. This typically includes 12 ounces of an electrolyte beverage. Number 2, meditate. This is more focused on breathing or prayer or meditation. Number 3 is create, where you visualize your ideal goal race or parts of that goal race. Number 4 is appreciate, where you're going to be thankful for all the things, the people, the circumstances, the places, etc., that really have allowed you to pursue your triathlon life and lifestyle. Number 5 is dictate, where you're going to really focus on the top 1 to 2 goals or purposes of the day's workout or workouts that you have. And finally, number 6 is activate, where you activate and then warm the muscles with dynamic movements to get you prepared for that first workout. I'm going to run through the morning transition for triathletes in terms of a typical day of how I use it, and you can certainly change or modify that best works for you in your day. So, alarm goes off, 4:45 a.m. Don't hit the snooze. Just don't do it. There's some days I want to, some days you'll be too sore, you'll be tired, you'll be stressed. Fill in the blank. There's plenty of reasons not to get up, but there's more reasons in terms of the commitment and the gratification and how awesome you'll feel when you complete that off-road triathlon, and when you get through the day just accomplishing any of the things that you do. So whether you have to throw the covers off the bed, or put your phone on the other side of the room so you physically have to get up, splash water on your face, brush your teeth right away. There's all types of things that you can do right away. Think about all the money and time that you've invested. Ignore every excuse, whatever it takes. You got to get out of bed. It's okay if you don't feel like it. There'll be plenty of times where you don't feel like it, but you got to do it. One of the things that can help with this first portion of hydrate is set that glass of water, preferably with electrolyte beverage, 12 ounces of water, next to your bed. And as soon as that alarm goes off, start drinking it. It gives you something to do, and it also starts that hydration process that doesn't occur overnight as you're sort of dehydrating. Don't check social media. Don't watch YouTube. Don't check Facebook. Leave the phone away if that's what you use for an alarm. You can get to that in a little bit. Focus on the hydration part first. Number 2 is meditate. So as you're finishing number 1, hydrate, take that drink, head out of the room to a quiet place, and sit down for meditate. What meditate includes is just 1 to 10 minutes, depending on your time, depending on how experienced you are with this. You're going to start doing just some focused breathing. You want to make sure that you're not just breathing from the chest up here, but that your diaphragm, lower than the chest, the stomach area is actually going up and down as you breathe. And just focus on taking a deep breath in and focusing on the breath out and in and out. Again, there's so much research on both the physical and the psychological mental benefits of meditation, deep breathing, focused breathing, prayer, but use this 1 minute or up to 10 or so if you have time, to just really focus on quiet breathing and just have that moment of silence as you start your day. Again, you only have to do a minute just to kind of get that literal moment of silence. Don't tell me you don't have 1 minute. If you've made it this far into this video, you've used more than a minute, you could have been meditating. So take that minute, focus breathing, and then that slides into number 3, which is really create, which is continued sort of breathing, but now you're shifting your focus from the actual breathing in and out to creating and visualizing your goal race. I mean, this is why you're doing this training. You can visualize your ultimate race, or if you've got a couple lined up, you could think about the next one. But the point is, you really want to focus and visualize the whole race or parts of that race. Again, take a minute, 2, 3, 4, whatever you have time for. But even if it's just a minute and you focus on one part, maybe it's the swim start that kind of scares you a bit. So in your mind, your mind's eye, watch that start, anticipate how you'll feel and calm yourself down a bit at the start. And when it goes, if you're going to stay to the left, or if it's sunny out, will you try to breathe out the other side? Or if your goggles start to fill up a little bit, how will you deal with that rather than freaking out and stopping? Can you kind of practice what you'll do, not only being successful, but in a moment of difficulty, such as with the goggle example. One of the common practices is as you transition can take a long time. If that's something you wanna pick up, because most people don't practice that as much, visualize when you come out of that swim, how will you transition from the swim part to the bike? Are you gonna put your shoes on first, or how are you gonna organize your transition area? Do you put your glasses on and then your helmet? Those different aspects, or even just the run, visualizing how you'll be tired on the run, but that you're still going to push harder, and that way when the race comes and that tired feeling comes, you'll say, well, I knew this was coming and I'm going to push harder. And that sort of creating the successes and visually can really lead to actual physical success. I mean, talk to any Olympic champion or professional athlete, and virtually all of them, I would bet you, I haven't asked all of them, but virtually all of them have completed that race or done that event 10 times, 100 times, 1,000 times in their mind, both being successful, doing their absolute best, and then dealing with the adversity that comes along with the race, so that nothing is really surprising. They don't want those negative things to happen, but they know, If you get a flat tire, how are you going to react to that? How fast are you going to change it? What are you going to do? So you're not trying to figure it out when you're stressed out in a race, but you've practiced it 15 times in your mind and you're ready to deal with it when it actually happens. After taking a minute or two of creating the perfect race visually, it's time to move on to appreciate. This is where you take another minute or two and let's just say the top 3 things or the top 5 things that you're really thankful for, and really focus on triathlon. It can be anything, but focus on triathlon, because this is the motivating part to keep doing what you're doing. Whether it's for being able to have the time to be able to train, for your family members or certain friends or people that have made sacrifices or support you so that you're able to do those things, to watch the kids while you go train, financially to be in a position where you can purchase the necessary equipment to do so. The list goes on and on. There's no wrong answer here, but just have that gratitude at the beginning of the day can really not only remind you and motivate you, but also put you in a mindset where you really do realize what you have. We always want more. It's sort of human nature, but we realize what we have and to let's go out there and live that tri life and be thankful for those things. And so it's great if you can say it to those people, but that's not required for this. It's just being in that mindset and truly appreciating and realizing what you've got and how you've been able to do triathlon. It could even be your health. I've done that one a bunch of times, that I just feel thankful that from a physical standpoint, I'm staying healthy and I'm able to compete. To me, there's nothing worse than not being able to exercise a lot of times. So take those few minutes and be thankful. Next one is dictate. Dictating is really just taking, again, a minute or two. At this point, you're at most 15 minutes into your day, so it's not a lot of extra time, and you're now focused on dictating what are the 1 or 2 main goals or points of today's workout. Maybe it's an easy recovery run. Maybe it's focusing on your kick in the pool, or maybe it's an endurance ride. Whatever it is, keep that in mind. Don't let circumstances when you're out there running change that if it's not appropriate. For example, if you're supposed to be out for an easy run and somebody goes flying by you, don't pick up the pace. It's your easy day. There's a purpose of your training. There's easy days, there's hard days, there's focus days. So know at the outside of the day, what are your 1 or 2 reasons for doing those workouts? And if you're not sure, ask yourself, what am I doing this for? Or ask your coach, what are the purposes of these workouts? It doesn't have to be a long explanation. At this point, you've made it through 5 of the 6 pieces of the morning transition for triathletes. And it's only been, give or take, 20 minutes. So even if you don't do anything else, you've had an awesome day so far. A nice way to start the day and set yourself. And in reality, you shouldn't be rolling out of bed and diving into the swimming pool or throwing on your running shoes 30 seconds after you get up and running out the door. Physically, mentally, your body is not ready for that, and I wouldn't want there to be an injury issue or a nutritional issue. Your body really needs some of that time to wake up. So not only are you being productive in this during this transition time in this morning, but your body's also waking up during this process. So you're give or take 20 minutes in the morning, more time if you need it. And now it is actually time to do the final piece, number 6, activate. So get up out of the chair, and activate involves the bracing sequence, which is a technique I learned from Dr. Kelly Starrett's book. I'll put a link in the notes below, where the bracing sequence puts you in a neutral foundational position, and not only does it help potentially prevent injury, but can create a greater activation, especially of the larger leg muscles, that really puts you in a better position from a body standpoint in terms of activating the appropriate muscles before you actually exercise. So that bracing sequence very quickly involves flexing of being in a neutral stance and flexing of the posterior muscles, the hamstrings and glutes, and then also getting the core engaged and the shoulders back. So that's a very quick preview, but that sort of sets it and gets you in this neutral position to then be able to activate. And then once you've got everything clenched, you slightly lower off that, so you're activating it at 30%. And the goal is to continue to be able to work out with some of those muscles engaged. And that really starts to activate the muscles. So look more at his book into that. And then from there, once you stood up activated, now you're gonna go into some dynamic movements. So there's multiple dynamic movements you can do. A few examples are some half squats, where you're just kind of doing some quick repetitions of squats up and down. You're doing some lunges, both sideways, forward lunges. You're doing pelvic hip rotations, arm swings, leg swings, slight hops, some jumping jacks, things that get your muscles kind of warmed up, some movement going, some blood flowing, things that you can do to get your body engaged before you actually jump in the pool, bike, or head out onto the road. This whole process should really literally only take 10 to upwards of 60 minutes if you really want to spend that much time on it. But it really allows you to wake up the body. And as I mentioned, tailor this to your individual needs. So, even when I use this on a daily basis, when I'm driving to the trail, for example, I do the first 3 portions of hydrate, meditate, and create, essentially with my eyes closed at home, but then I'll jump in the car and on the way to the trail, I'll do appreciate as well as dictate. And then actually when I get to where I'm actually gonna stop and get out of the car because I'm in that sitting position, then I'll get into activate, doing some of the dynamic exercises, and then I'm ready for the workout and we'll hit the trail. In summary, today we talked about the morning transition for triathletes. Maybe we'll call it T0 going forward, I don't know. But it's really a great way to start off your morning, get you in the right mindset, get you hydrated, and then get you right physically before that initial morning workout. So in review, the morning transition is number 1, hydrate. Preferably with electrolyte drink. I use Noon tablets. I'll put a link below for those. Number 2 is meditate, where you're taking a moment of silence focused on breathing. Number 3 is create, where you're visualizing and creating your goal race and running that race visually before you actually do it physically. Number 4 is appreciate, taking a moment to be thankful, give gratitude for the things that allow you to continue to do triathlon, whether that be personally or family and friends that support you, and so on. Number 5 is to dictate and really have that focus, just 1 or 2 goals of the workout or the workouts that you have today, so it's not confusing that you have that reason. And number 6 is activate, so literally activating the muscles, warming them up. And one of the things I didn't mention with the dynamic exercises, if you have a band, different colors are different sort of resistances. You can do some of the squats or lunges or monster walks, or again, different dynamic exercises using that. So I'll put a link to that below so you can see what I'm talking about there. So hope that was helpful for you. If you have other things that really help you start off right in the morning, especially getting out of bed, please put a comment below. It would be really helpful, both for me as well as for the other people viewing the video. If you try the morning transition for triathletes, let me know how it is. If it's great, let me know. If it sucks, let me know. I'm still gonna do it, but you can tell me it sucks. But in seriousness, you can even incorporate a piece of it or 2. I just found it really to be helpful, and it really helps, sets a great tone for the day. No matter what else happens, I know I'm in the right mindset. I know I'm gonna have an awesome day. The next episode is the off-road triathletes day after that morning workout is finished until bed. So if you want to tune in for that, hit that red subscribe button at the bottom of your screen to make sure you get that alert for that next episode. And we'll see you then.